Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is going to be a gaming mouse company tier list. I'm going to be ranking the companies that make the gaming mice we use. This was made by Synodo. Major thank you to him. I'm sorry if my mic sounds a bit worse. There's a fan in the background, so I use NVIDIA Broadcast, and that kind of fucks the quality. But yeah, gonna get right into this list. Okay, let's go. Razer. Razer is the biggest company, I would say, that's like listening to the community. Like their mice are really community driven. But I don't know, like there's no Razer product that I call my main. So I feel like putting them in A tier is pretty reasonable. Maybe if they make a sick Viper Mini Ultimate, they would be in based. But they just haven't done that, and they don't seem to be planning on doing that anytime soon. But yeah, who knows? I feel like A is a pretty fair rating. I'm not going to be like, oh, Viper family, best mice ever. No. Um, Now we have Vaxee, and I think this is another company that belongs in A. They really are, like, doing a thing of their own. I don't know, you could maybe put them in B if you, like, hate all of their shapes. But they're basically the modern Zowie. They still don't have all of the features completely on point, but the buttons, the quality, and the shapes are really good, and a lot of people, especially, like, CSGO boomers, are in love with their mice. So you gotta respect that. Maybe they could come out with some wireless shapes around the same weight. That would be pretty cool, but I don't know. Roccat. Okay, I'm gonna put them in B tier. Might be surprising. Some people might love them. But I don't know. I just don't use any Roccat mice. I wasn't a huge fan of the Burst Pro, compared to mice like the XM1 and shit. And the Cone Pro Air kind of disappointed me. Like the clicks just weren't the best. The shape was good. The weight was decent, but it was just a big ergo mouse. I don't know. I feel like Roccat needs to make a KPU wireless. That would be a pretty sick shape. But yeah, I was kind of underwhelmed by the Cone Pro Air. By the way, this is completely objective and not based on my personal preferences. It's based on how good the mice are. Now we have Zaunkoenig. I don't know where to put them. They make the lightest mice ever, so that's pretty based. But then again, I paid $350 for my M2K, and it's just been in tracking for around 3 weeks, or been in shipping for around 3 weeks now. No update on it. So that's kind of unfortunate. I wish I could have that mouse so I could better judge their company. But honestly, the M1K didn't have side buttons, no wheel. It was super light, but it was like, what can I really do with this mouse? So I'll put them in B tier, but could definitely go up if the M2K is good. I know that the Zaunkoenig fans are going to be mad about that, but it's like, it is what it is. Xtrfy based, they made Zeiss Rail. They enabled Rocket Jump Ninja to show his creative genius in an alternative form. They're the best company ever. Amazon Basics, absolute dog shit. Like, I know it seems like a joke, but Amazon Basics actually does make mice. They're fine for like a workplace environment, I guess. But like, I feel like parents are buying their kids these mice to use, and that should be criminal. Like legally criminal. Okay, now we have Logitech, and I feel like they belong in A tier. They don't really make many mice. They milk the shape that they have, which is the G Pro Wireless, obviously. But the Superlight is just such a good mouse. Their prices are pretty steep, but I don't know. Like, what does Logitech have coming up in the future? There is that G303 that got leaked, and that's cool, but that's not like something that everybody's gonna love in the same way that everybody loves the Superlight. So I don't know. Logitech could even go to B, but I'm pretty confident that the next thing they do will be big once again. Now we have Asus. Fuck, did they make like the ROG Keras or whatever? Am I thinking of the right company? I think I am. They belong in either C or D tier. I'm gonna put them in C just because they have hot swappable switches, but then again, they patented that, so better companies can't take advantage of that, so they belong in D. They're really taking away from like what could have been. I'm gonna put Finalmouse in based. Don't really care who this pisses off. They made my main mouse. They are well ahead of the industry. Like all of these other companies. I feel like having Xtrfy in here is a meme. Fuck. I'll redo Xtrfy later. I don't know why I had that stupid hat on, but back to Finalmouse. I really do think that they are the most based mouse manufacturer. That does not mean they're the most based company, because I'll be honest, like they really aren't consumer friendly. Their mice are never readily available. They do limited drops that get botted, and you can't buy the mouse right now. And you might be thinking, if the availability is bad and you can't get the mouse, why does it matter how good it is? That's a good point. A really good point. On to Xtrfy. Again, Once again, going back in the base tier. I don't know why anybody thought it would ever leave. They enabled Rocket Jump Ninja to show his creative genius. Point still stands. Cooler Master. Wait, fuck. I forgot I actually want to talk about Xtrfy. The M42 is a really good mouse. It's like super versatile with the swappable shells, but they didn't update the features on it. So if I really were to put them somewhere, I would put them in B tier for having the MZ1, which is like kind of overpriced. No, nah, Rocket Jump Ninja's got it's a fair price, but it has really good features. Just a super aggressive shape. So I don't know. I have no idea what they have planned in the future. If they go wireless, they could easily go into A. But all of my build quality experiences with Xtrfy have been like average. My mice always start to creak. Cooler Master, holy shit. Speaking of build quality, they go in the D tier. MM710, MM711, just trash quality. I will never think otherwise. MM720 was decent, just a really weird shape, like maybe 10 people fucking love that shape. And they have like an MM731 that Hardware Canucks reviewed, but it like didn't drop and there's no info on it, so I don't care about it. So yeah, D tier. Glorious. Wow. I don't know. Maybe they don't belong in B. I would say C. Glorious is moving really slowly. They cared a lot about the GMMK Pro, and I mean, that's fucking cool. I guess they like moved to keyboards, did well. Or it seems they did well at least. But they really slowed down on mice, and they came out with an announcement recently. Oh my god, guys, the Model D minus wireless. Or no, not even the D minus. The Model D wireless, even somehow less exciting. It does have kill switches, so it'll be interesting how those are. But it's just like, oof, who's really looking forward to Glorious at this point? And the Model O wireless, holy shit, I just don't recommend that mouse whatsoever. Yeah, Glorious, not a big fan. Delux, I would put them. I don't know. They have one good mouse, but it's a really budget-friendly, like, wireless mouse. So they could go and see. If I consider their other mice, they could go and dog shit. They have some vertical mice. I think they're sending one out to me. Hi, Delux, if you're watching this. Cannot wait for the vertical mouse. I tried one of their mice, the MM6. I don't even know. It was stupid and bad. But they go in C tier just because of the M800 hard carrying their company. Clone more shapes, do the same shit. GameSense. This is another, well, fuck, is their mouse even released? I don't even know why they're on here. They made the GameSense meta, but I don't know if they released it. It was like on pre-order. Did it ship out yet? Who knows? And they're like announcing some WMO clone. It was supposed to be wireless, but now it's wired. It's just like, I don't know. GameSense, it seems like they're doing good with mouse pads, but mice, I don't know. I think they realized that mice are pretty hard. Zowie. Just really not a company anymore. The mouse designers for Zowie are Vaxee. And I just know how many people I can piss off by putting them in dog shit. So I'm just gonna do that. Like, they're old mice, legendary shapes, obviously. I'm not a fan of many of the features at all. They're really out of date, and modern companies are just doing it better. I actually gave it some more thought, and there is this thing called the Zowie fitting kit. I don't know if it's available right now, but it's basically $10, and you get to try out every shape. Like, they give you a mouse, like, their entire lineup. And that is really cool, and it can give you a sense of what type of shapes you like. So I think I could honestly see Zowie in the C tier. But if you want Zowie in like A or base, like somewhere super high, you're just delusional. But the fitting kit is pretty sick. HyperX, they have one good mouse. It's the Pulsar Haste. It had sensor issues. I've heard that they sorted them out, but the LOD is still like kind of scuffed on my copy and the deviation. Even after like the firmware, I'm gonna throw them in C. You feel like they have to have something coming up. They did get bought out by some super big company. I forgot what it was. But yeah, I don't know. HyperX is in the C tier until they do something. Pulsar, fuck, speaking of Zowie, they made an EC2 clone about as interesting as it could be. It was 48 grams, had a pretty unique design, but ultimately, the mouse just wasn't that good. So they go in D tier. Wow, I don't have enough companies in dog shit. That's unfortunate. Ninjusto. Their mouse release was a flop. Oh, fuck. Their mouse release was a flop. The Origin 1X. I had a sample copy, and I wound up getting sent 2 of their actual, like, release copies. And they were both, like, significantly worse quality than my sample. And their mouse, like, on paper, it was good. And my samples, it was promising. But they didn't address the issues, and I don't know what they have planned in the future. I actually don't think they have anything announced, so yeah. Pwnage. I'm really not a big fan of Pwnage, but I don't know. I feel like Pwnage is either in the C or the D tier. They basically just buy mice like wholesale. They have like no innovation at all. They're just a clone company. And there's nothing really wrong with that, right? Like they're still putting out the mice. But yeah, they fuck. I Why don't I like Pwnage? Okay, so basically there's a Korean company called Xenix, and Pwnage basically just literally makes the exact same mice as they do. But the Pwnage mice have worse specs. So if you want the Pwnage Ultra symmetrical, you can just get this one as a 3370. You have to buy it on eBay though, so I don't even know. And this is the next mouse that Pwnage is going to make. And I don't know, they just always have cheap builds. They used to have the 3335. And unless you're buying a super budget friendly mouse, I wouldn't recommend just using a 3335. So yeah, Pwnage, they could either go C or D depending on your experience. Now, Endgame Gear. This is a company that I used to love, but it's just like they haven't done anything. They've just revised the XM1 a lot. And I know it's like a super big meme, and I don't think it's really warranted because they did perfect their one mouse. But it's like eventually, it's like, hey, Endgame Gear, fucking do something. So I don't know. They have like one of the best mice, which I think is a great shape for claw. Some of the best switches, the best cable on a wired mouse, a great sensor. Yeah, I think it belongs in A tier, if I can say that many good things about it. And the quality build is insane for like 70 grams. Did I say quality build? Dude, whatever. Endgame Gear is a sick company, but they would be based if they make an XM1 wireless even. Or like an XM1 mini, or maybe an XM2. I doubt that will ever happen though. Okay, HK Gaming, let's go. Something I can put in dog shit. They stopped making mice because they didn't sell well enough. That's what they said, I'm pretty sure. And they just went to focus on keyboards. Their mice were always really cheap quality. Nobody actually liked HK Gaming mice. G-Wolves, oof. Do they belong in B or C? I feel like a company that you could bet on to do something decent within the next year, I would give that to G-Wolves. They actually do like research and development. They just released the HSK. It's only available on Xtrfy and the shipping's super high. So I don't know. It's really not relevant until it's available from like local vendors. Holy shit. I cannot speak. I feel like an idiot while talking about these mouse companies. But yeah, G-Wolves HotES Wireless was a complete flop. I totally just remembered that. So they could go in C or B. I don't know. I feel like this tier list is just completely correct. Now we have the Booga peripherals, which are just so based, man. They're cheap. The Booga mouse is only $10 before shipping. That's $5 more. And after tax, it comes to around 17. And at that point, you could get a G203. But that's not what the media wants you to know, and I'm probably going to get this video demonetized for saying that. But yeah, the Booga mice, if you have an opportunity to get them, I 100% go for it. SteelSeries, oof. I have the Prime Wireless right now, and I just don't like it at all. I don't know if that's because I'm coming from the Starlight 12, which is drastically different, like a fingertip small mouse that weighs 43 grams versus like a pretty large and clunky 85 gram ergo. That could be a factor. The clicks on this mouse are super interesting. I'll do a sound test. RTX voice might not pick it up, and I don't care enough to like do a separate sound test if that's the case. But yeah, SteelSeries, fuck. I guess they could go in. Nah, the Prime Wireless is really expensive. They could go in C tier. They're not D tier. The Arox 3 Wireless was all right. Some people love their mice for like palm grip. I'm not calling that a disability. You're just a SteelSeries fan. And last but not least, we have Corsair. And last time, in the last mouse company tier list, the dog shit tier was called Corsair. And since then, they have improved slightly. To the point where they are now in the D tier. They made the Saber Pro 8K Hertz. It's like, okay, making an 8K Hertz mouse, good shit, Corsair. But yeah, they made like a Qatar XT Pro, that whole lineup. Just don't buy those mice, please. There are so many better options at the price point. And yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about this tier list. You can hate the reasoning on some of these for sure, but I feel like the list itself is pretty great. Especially if you're like a totally like anti-irony person and you just ignore the based tier. I feel like there's absolutely no room for disagreement on this list. And if you find yourself in that category, please never watch my videos again. But that's going to be all. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, God bless. And that's all. And if I missed any companies, make sure to let me know which company, and I will give you a detailed response as to where they would have gone on the list. Like even a company like Xenix that I talked about, I just don't think Sin could find a logo, so he didn't include it, which is extremely reasonable.